today, we're going to follow the incredible journey of a vaccine. Seriously, from the moment it's created in the lab to the second it protects a human life, it's this amazing story of science, precision, and a constant race against the clock.
I mean, have you ever really thought about it? How does this tiny, fragile vial get from a factory in one city all the way to a small village clinic maybe thousands of miles away, completely safe and sound? It's one of the most amazing, behind-the-scenes stories in all of modern medicine.
And the secret to making it all work is a system called the cold chain. The best way to think about it is like a high-stakes refrigerated relay race. The baton is this life-saving vaccine, and you absolutely cannot drop it. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how this incredible journey works.
Okay, so to really understand the journey, we gotta start at the beginning, with a simple, kind of beautiful idea behind what a vaccine even is.
At its core, it is such a clever concept. You're basically training your body's immune system. You're teaching it to fight off a bad guy before it ever meets the real thing. It's like giving your internal army a training manual, showing it pictures of the enemy so it's totally ready for the real battle. We call this active immunity, and it is one of the most powerful tools we have.
And this idea has been around for a while. It really kicked off way back in 1796 with Edward Jenner and the smallpox vaccine. Then you have the legendary Louis Pasteur, who gave us vaccines for things like rabies and anthrax. And all that pioneering work paved the way for modern public health programs, like India's National Immunization Schedule, which launched in 1985 to bring this incredible technology to everyone.
So how do you actually make a vaccine? Well, it turns out there isn't just one recipe. Scientists have come up with a bunch of different ways to get the job done, each one designed to teach your immune system in a slightly different way.
So let's look at the two classic approaches. First up, you've got live attenuated vaccines. Think of these as a live sparring partner for your immune system. The germ is weakened, so it can't really hurt you, but it's still active enough to give your immune system a great workout, usually leading to lifelong immunity with just one dose. Then you have killed vaccines. These are more like showing your immune system a most wanted poster of the germ. It's dead, it can't cause disease, but your body still learns to recognize it. This way is super safe, but you'll often need a few doses and boosters to keep that memory strong.
And you definitely heard of some of these live sparring partner vaccines, things like the MMR for measles, mumps, and rubella, or the oral polio vaccine. These all use a weakened version of the germ to get your immune system prepped and ready for a real fight.
And on the other side of the coin, you have the killed vaccines, like the inactivated polio vaccine. But science has gotten even smarter. Now we have things like recombinant vaccines, like for hepatitis B, that use just one tiny piece of the germ. And then you have combination vaccines, like Pentavalent, which is amazing. It protects against 5 different diseases all in one shot.
Okay, so we have these brilliant vaccines. They're made. But now comes the really tricky part. How do you get them to the people who need them? This is where we dive into the most fragile, most critical part of the whole process, the journey through the cold chain.
This right here is the magic number. It is the golden rule. The vast majority of vaccines in India's immunization program have to stay in this super precise temperature range, between 2 and 8 degrees Celsius, from the second they leave the factory to the moment they're given to a person.
And just to be clear, this isn't a suggestion. It is an absolute, non-negotiable rule. If a vaccine gets too hot, it starts to lose its power. It becomes less effective. But if certain vaccines get too cold and freeze, the damage is permanent. It's totally destroyed. It might look the same, but its power to protect is just gone. You don't get a second chance.
So how on earth do you keep track of this, especially the heat? Well, every single vial comes with this brilliant little piece of tech stuck right on it, the Vaccine Vial Monitor, or VVM. It's a special label that changes color based on how much heat it's been exposed to over time.
And it's so simple to use. See that little inner square? As long as it's lighter than the outer circle, you're good to go. But if it ever gets as dark as the circle or even darker, that's it. That's the discard point. The vaccine has seen too much heat and it has to be thrown away. It's a genius, foolproof visual cue for health workers out in the field.
Okay, so the VVM takes care of heat. But what about that permanent damage from freezing? For that, there's another really clever, surprisingly low-tech solution called the shake test. This is specifically for those vaccines that are ruined by being frozen, like hepatitis B.
So here's what they do. A health worker takes the vial they think might have been frozen, and they shake it really hard next to a vial they know has never been frozen. Then they just watch. If the liquid in the suspect vial settles slowly and looks just like the good one, it's fine. But if it settles super fast and gets all grainy, that's the telltale sign it was frozen. It's been ruined and it has to be discarded.
Such a simple, elegant test that saves lives.
So after surviving this incredibly precise, super fragile journey, the vaccine is finally at the finish line, ready for its real purpose. Not just to protect one person, but to help protect an entire community. And this is all done through a really carefully planned program, like the National Immunization Schedule. You can think of it as a protective shield that gets built around a child, starting from the day they're born, all the way through those critical early months and years, with boosters to make sure their immunity stays strong.
You see, the ultimate goal of a program like this is something called herd immunity, and it's a really powerful idea. Basically, when enough people in a community are immune to a disease, they create a kind of firewall. The disease just can't find anyone to infect, so it fizzles out. And this protects everybody, especially the most vulnerable folks who can't get vaccinated, like newborn babies or people with weak immune systems.
This chart shows it perfectly. That big purple slice, that's all the people who are vaccinated and immune. They form this protective barrier around that small blue slice, the people who aren't vaccinated. Because the virus can't get through the herd, those vulnerable people are kept safe. For a disease like measles, you need over 90% of people to be immune for this to work.
And this is exactly why big public health programs are so important. Initiatives like Mission Indradhanush in India are all about reaching that goal. They focus on finding kids who might have been missed and getting them up to date, all to push that national coverage over 90% and make that protective shield as strong as possible for everyone.
So when you look at the whole picture, what does it really take to protect an entire population? Well, it takes the genius of scientists like Jenner and Pasteur. It takes this incredible, unbroken, ice-cold chain of care that stretches all the way across a country. And maybe most important of all, it takes a community deciding to protect not just